A good business owner, and that's what we're going to cover today, is how you can pivot your business to match the supply and demand at hand.
So today we're going to be talking about the reality of what it takes to grow a successful beauty business. And so I'm honored to be joined by my good friend Amanda Banks. She is a 7-figure med spa owner and permanent makeup artist slash trainer. And your locations are in Bellevue and Scottsdale. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
I should know that because I'm your marketer. So I know
Yeah.
that's correct. Anyways, yeah, thanks so much for joining me here. My name's Jake Randolph with PMU Marketer, of course. And yeah, let's dive into it. So the permanent makeup industry, the beauty industry, it's changed a lot the past 5 years, hasn't it?
Oh, it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I joined the permanent makeup industry back in 2017, when did you start? It was close to that, right?
Same time.
Yeah. So yeah, it was booming back then. And I'm not saying it's not booming now. It's just, it's a lot different. So we're going to talk about how the market's changed and how you can succeed going forward. Because right now we're recording this in 2023. We're coming up on, it's a few months until 2024. And so, for those who want to get ready for the new year and stuff, let's dive in. So what would you say the biggest changes you've seen since 2017?
Well, it's interesting. I've talked to a lot of industry leaders, and I'm seeing a lot of trends where a lot of artists aren't booked out a year in advance like they used to be. Maybe clients don't want to wait that long. They want to get in next week. I'm hearing things like trainers aren't having group classes anymore. It's more one-on-one, or they're focusing more advanced courses online. I do think that the reality of any industry and the cycle of business within any vertical, it's cyclical. And so we go through cycles and bell curves of supply and demand. And a good business owner, and that's what we're going to cover today, is how you can pivot your business to match the supply and demand at hand. And so it's not that the industry is going up or down, it's pivoting. And any good business owner knows they need to be pivoting their business model to match where the sales are, right? So that's kind of the mindset of what we're going to be covering.
I love that. It's just like the economy. Like, you can't always stay at one spot. Like, it ebbs and flows based on supply and demand, because too much of a good thing, people get tired of it. Anyway, so back in, 2017 through, I would say 2019, it was lots of, everybody wanted to sign up to be a PMU artist. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of trainers, which there's a lot of great trainers out there, including yourself. But I did see some trainers out there that would promote, like, whether it was a $500 class, or they would promote, hey, you just do this 1-day class and you can make 6 figures easy. Did you see a lot of that?
Yeah, but the truth is I still do. So I'm on the board for the AAM, on the board of directors, and I see a lot. And the hard part about permanent makeup, and if you're watching this, you probably already know, is most states do not have enough or any regulations in regards to training and courses with permanent makeup, which is so fascinating, considering if you want to be an esthetician in most states, it takes a lot of hours. It takes months of schooling. So the fact that you can't tweeze an eyebrow, but you can split it open with a blade with little to no training, it's going to take a little while for things to catch up when it comes to regulations. So the tough thing is like you said, there's a lot of trainers even from years ago that didn't necessarily know how to train. And I think it takes having students for a long time to realize, where are the gaps? What are they missing? My average student that comes in for permanent makeup class has taken 1 to 3 other classes before they sign up with us. And what I hear all the time is, I was promised this and I got this. And so it's challenging, because especially if you're entering into a brand new industry, how do you know how to research? How do you know what support looks like? How do you know how many models you what is it? Are you going to struggle more than somebody else? My students, we do a 6-month program. And for me, the hard thing, this is pretty vulnerable with you guys. I make way more doing clients than training, and I have a lot of integrity. And I know that in order to have a student and nurture them to be confident in permanent makeup, it takes months of support directly from me. I can't pass that off. I can't put them in a Facebook group. I need to build them through a process that's going to give them confidence. And so for me, training, I lose income in comparison to taking clients. But I know that in order to develop leaders in the industry, you have to develop leaders behind you. So I want to be an amazing trainer, and I want to be a shining example in the industry. But that means that I have to put extra effort into making sure those students are confident and that they become leaders themselves. And I think that the integrity aspect of it has shifted when it comes to training. And a lot of people want to do it for quick income. But the reality is if they are a great artist and they do have a good business, then they're going to have more income from the client side. So I think the gap that we're seeing is how do we find trainers that really have a passion for supporting their students, and that it's not just a money grab for them. And that's what we're running into a lot right now.
Yeah, and the goal of this podcast is to really not only expose, what's been going on in the industry, but to make you guys, to help you guys out by showing you it's a process to grow a business. Like I mentioned, Amanda has, multiple successful businesses, but it didn't happen overnight, did it?
No, it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and now it takes a lot of staff to run it. So
yeah, and even with marketing, I see a lot of people that sign up with my services and they think they're gonna get booked up in like 2 or 3 weeks. It takes consistency and time. Even with great ads, great marketing, business, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will a business be.
Yeah, and I mean, we could go into a million topics with that, because I'm seeing a lot of marketing posts online that are guaranteeing bookings or this and that, and it gives that sense of like, oh, if I give you this, I get this in exchange. And when you come into business, if you have a W-2 or you came from a career world in the job world, owning a business is very unique, because the marketing, it's not just about people. You don't pay for an ad and then they book. And our team, and you, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but I'm sure a lot of your customers don't go to the extent to follow up like my team does.
Yeah.
We have grown and we have done very well with our advertising because we follow up, because we have great social proof, and we've built an entity where if somebody clicks on their ad, we win them over, and we have to take it from there. So I'm seeing a lot of those like fly by night, like guaranteed this and that, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's going to be not very fun.
Yeah, and when I first started seeing that, I was probably back in 2019-ish, 2020. Unfortunately, in the marketing community, that's what a lot of people were taught. You'd have these marketers who they had just started, and I literally would have people reach out to me, because by that point, I'd already been in business a few years. They'd reach out to me like, I have all these clients, but I don't even know how to run good ads. Can you teach me? I'm like, bro, or it was even girls too. It's like, it's too late. Yeah, I mean, it's not too late, but like, you shouldn't have gotten these clients to pay you all this money if you don't even know what you're doing. So like, yeah, send them my way and I'll help them out, but that's not ethical. And yeah, since I first started seeing, all the guarantees, like guaranteed 50 clients or we double your money. And like, I knew, because I had already been running ads for years, I knew that even with amazing ads, amazing results, tons of leads, there's no way to know like if you're going to get 30 clients this month or 10 clients this month, especially not 50. And so I just thought that was so unethical and unreasonable. And so you can go back to my podcast from back in the day, and I was literally saying, don't follow these guarantees, don't fall for these scams, is basically what I call them, because that's what they are. And unfortunately, it kept getting worse and worse, and it still is going on. And now it's made my job a lot harder, because I get clients that come to me, or potential clients, they're like, well, do you guarantee all these bookings? And I'm like, well, the reason I don't do a guarantee is because guarantees make people lazy. If you're guaranteed something, you're not going to work for it, you're not going to appreciate it, and you're not going to put in the effort. And the fact is, even with my amazing ads, you have to put in the effort. You still have to make content. You still have to respond to your leads. And so a guarantee is doing nothing but giving you a false sense of security that's going to stop your business growth.
It's true. And you want to know something crazy too? This is weird. I'm not exaggerating, at least 4 marketers that have used my photo or a fake testimonial within their programs without me knowing, because I didn't use them. And what's crazy is I'll have students DM me a screenshot and go, oh my God, you recommend this marketer? And I'm like, who is that? I'm not kidding you. It makes me want to throw up, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they use your name or your brand, and I don't know who the heck they are. And it's a weird thing. It's very weird, and it feels very icky.
Yeah, and that sucks for me, because I've worked so hard to gather the thousands and thousands of testimonials and reviews that I do have. But now that every marketer is saying they have that many, it makes people not even believe me, which I do have verified reviews. It's just, if everybody says it, it doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, we got to pivot. That's right. So yeah, I mean, the state of the industry, any industry, if it's permanent makeup, if it's you own a restaurant, if it's marketing, you got to learn to pivot with the state of the industry. That's just how it is. And we can never get complacent or comfortable. You always need to be looking ahead and monitoring and seeing what direction, up or down, like how are things going? How are they shifting or changing? Another thing I'm seeing in the market right now is a lot of people are saying, oh, I don't believe in microblading. I only believe in nanobrows. I'm hearing a lot of that right now. A lot of people converting over to machine nanobrows saying that's the only option. And it's difficult because I'll share my very open opinion on this. Most people that took microblading training in the last 5 to 6 years did not learn it correctly. And they were trained by trainers or artists that either didn't support them or weren't using the right technique. And so we saw a lot of bad microblading. And so that's what gave it the bad rap and the bad taste. Is everybody a candidate for microblading? No, absolutely not. But do we really want to say that microblading is a bad technique because people screwed it up, with bad training? I've had clients over years that have amazing healed results with annual touch-ups every 1 to 4 years, and it's great. So it comes down to looking through and seeing the hype or the not hype, and just kind of looking down at the doing your due diligence and knowing what's really right. And that's challenging when you see an industry or society pivoting a certain direction, isn't it?
Yep. So now that we've kind of addressed the problems and what's the phrase I'm looking for? The something in the room, elephant in the room. There you go.
Mhm.
Now that we've addressed that, how can people? Let's go through different scenarios. Let's say someone's, maybe they went through a training that wasn't that great. They're not that confident in their skills. What would you recommend them do?
I would look for a trainer that has developed trainers behind them. Somebody that everybody hands down says they're a great trainer. Somebody that has reviews that are paragraphs long. And I would look for somebody that has reviews about the level of support that they received directly from that trainer. I think in my opinion, the level of direct support you have is directly correlated with how confident you're going to be at the end of your training. And if you go to one class and they support you for 2 days, they support you and they put you in a Facebook group, that's not going to help you individually. One thing I've found over the years, I have almost 1,000 students that I've personally mentored, is that everybody learns differently. And if I don't have a personal connection with them and understand how they learn, or understand what they're doing wrong, their blind spots in their work, nobody's going to call out their blind spots. I take that responsibility really heavy, where I believe as a trainer, if I can't inspire them and I can't encourage them to keep pushing and correct those little things, they're not going to do well with their models and their first clients, and they're going to quit and they're going to lose their dream. And so this is the cause and effect. If I train them really well and I support them, they get to keep and pursue their dream. And you want to find a trainer that really has that heart, that believes in you doing things correctly and right, even if that means they're spending extra time and effort with you.
Yeah, and I guess when you're saying, you mentioned reviews, and then I guess when you go to someone's social media, you can tell how passionate or not passionate they are. I'm not saying you have to post all the time to show you're passionate, but it's pretty obvious when you start looking at accounts.
I would say so, yeah. And I think that the more technical it is, the better. I love quality of work-based training, where it's not based on you participating in a class, but it's based on the quality of your work and you achieving a certification. I have a 20-level curriculum. You can't even go to level 2 till you pass level 1. In that quality of work, those baby steps, develop proper technique. Kind of like learning a new sport. You start at the very beginning and you build your fundamentals. It should be the same thing when you're starting a very challenging technique.
Yep. And it's like my advice for finding, the right marketers is also look at reviews. Like I said, or like Amanda mentioned, like people can have fake reviews on their stuff, but when you look at Facebook reviews, like people actually have to make those reviews through a verified Facebook account. I know there's other review websites out there, but anyone can make a fake email and do like a fake bad review or fake good review. Like I've had competitors leave fake bad reviews on my stuff, and there's no way I can prove it, or they're not going to take it down. But then unfortunately that, just stays there. And so look for the verified Facebook accounts that are leaving actual good reviews, reach out to those people, etc.
Yeah, I totally agree. And don't be afraid. I mean, interview people, interview the trainer you're going to work with, or interview the marketer and ask the tough questions. You know,
Mhm.
I think that's part of it too. That's doing your due diligence. A lot of people get sold on hype,
Yep.
and hype doesn't work, you know.
Yep.
And in sales, it's tough because if you learn sales and you learn strategy, you want to sell them on the hype. And so it's a very effective method. But if you're on the consumer side and you're the one handing over your credit card, just make sure to kind of take the hype out of it, put your business hat on, and make sure that you're making a good data-driven decision.
Yeah, and the challenge for our sales team, because we have like Tony and two others, they, we brief them every day on like, okay, this is the current market trends. We want to make sure that we find the right fit for us. Like, we don't want to accept just everybody. And the struggle is like we don't have a lot of the hype. Like, we don't do a lot of the big guarantees and like the stuff that's I think is unethical because it never works. Like, I know companies that were founded on the guarantees and that's how they got all their high paying clients, but then I talked to those clients 7 or 8 months later, and they're still like, yeah, I haven't had any results, but they're still continuing to run ads for me, but I've wasted all this time. And so, when we're competing with the hype, we still have to talk our services up because, we know we're good at what we do, but we can't, if we say no guarantees and no refunds, it doesn't mean we're not as good as the other company. Like, maybe we can put the screenshot up or my designer can, but we have a screenshot that we literally took 2 days ago. It was somebody had tried out us and another marketing company at the same time, and literally their cost per lead was $30. Our cost per lead was $3. And so not all marketing companies are created equal.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? I have a question for those that aren't doing paid advertising, or they are. What trends are you seeing right now with paid advertising in permanent makeup? Like, what's working and what's not working that maybe used to work?
So I would say videos are tougher now just because you're competing with all the TikTok style videos and it's hard to get people's attention now with video. But what I'm still seeing work pretty good is like the collage of like maybe your best, before and after picture, maybe a action shot of the artist, and just having like a little maybe 4 picture collage. That's still working great. We still find that just, being able to have messenger leads, like people that can message you back and forth and you can develop that relationship with, that helps out great because this is not 2018 anymore where people might just be excited about microblading and permanent makeup so much they're going to instantly sign up without talking to you. These days, you have more competitors in your area. And so people want to do their research. They want to talk with you back and forth and kind of get your vibe and your pricing and all the details. And so, that's why I brought Tony on. He teaches our clients how to sell and how to build that relationship. So long story short, like if you do have more competitors, you're going to have to, make those connections with people via like messenger or phone call and, really talk to them. The days of sending them a booking link and them signing up instantly are gone.
I totally agree with you. And I'll share some insight on strategies that are working at our studios. To give you some background, we charge the most. We are very expensive to come and have your permanent makeup done with us. And I'd say we're the most expensive in both states. And we are booked solid. And I think it's because we really create a customer experience from the first impression all the way through the appointment that is high end. So we communicate very well to clients and we educate and build trust with them on the front end. That way they know they're going to the right place and they're willing and they're happy to spend and invest more to have it done right. So the kind of things that we talk about is I share with them the credibility of either myself or our staff artists, how we go about finding their shape and color, what it feels like, what the appointment's like, that there's no training regulations in Washington, there's no license in Arizona. I tell them that you probably called us because you did a lot of research, and I'm glad they did because we specialize in natural work, and I really just build a connection and rapport with them because I know if I can diffuse the concerns or fears or frequently asked questions that are up here for them, they're going to go, oh my gosh, I have no other fears. Why wouldn't I book with you right now? And they're going to book with you. And they appreciate the fast response time, getting on a call with them. All of my staff are trained on how to have this same conversation, even people that are not artists. So everyone in your company needs to be good at sales, but sales is not what you think. It's about connecting, educating, and building trust. And if you present yourself as a professional that way, not only are you going to win them over as a client, but you're going to get in their friends and family circle as well. So say you're running paid ads and you get a lead and you get them in your studio, you better be getting referrals out of that and experiencing compound growth and getting more booked and increasing your pricing. But you have to have the mindset of I'm a great artist. They are so lucky to have me as their artist. I am very well educated. I know I'm going to do a great job with their eyebrows. If they went somewhere else, they wouldn't be happy. And I think these things in my brain. So the way that I come across and communicate, they really know that I care, or that we care, and that we're going to take care of them no matter what.
Yep, I love that. Because at the end of the day, that's, to me, that's what everybody asks me about branding. Well, a lot of people think branding is just about colors or logos. To me, branding is your reputation. And it's another word for that is, what people think of you when they see your stuff. And so if you build that, reputation with people and they see you as like, hey, you're the go-to person, you're the go-to brow artist or spa, it's just going to help you out so much more.
It's really true. It's really true. And how you make people feel is a big part of that too, especially with permanent makeup, because if you're in PMU, your clients are going to be anxious when they walk in the door. They're nervous because it's a face tattoo, and they should be. I always empathize. I say, you should be nervous. I'm glad that you're nervous. It means you care. And getting on their level and walking them through that emotional cycle of having a face tattoo, if you can master that process and connect and walk them through that journey, you've got them. You've got them.
Exactly. So you might disagree with me on this, but I think these days, especially in 2023, it's great to offer multiple services, because what I see is somebody just offers microblading or just permanent makeup brows. And then during the summer, when people are out in the sunshine and there's a lot of reasons you can't get permanent makeup in the summer, they get really slow. And so I think if they add on a service, and plus, the other argument is permanent makeup is a high price point compared to some other beauty services. So you're talking 400 to 600 to, you charge what, 2,500?
A lot.
So you've got that. It's a little bit higher price, so it's a little bit harder to sell to someone who doesn't know you yet. And then also, even if you have the best brows or the best work, they're still, not going to be repeat customers for another year. And so I highly recommend adding another service, whether it's like, I don't know, lashes, facials. To me, the hottest one right now is permanent jewelry. I've seen a lot of brow artists, double or triple their income just from adding permanent jewelry. And the cool thing about having a smaller price ticket service is you can advertise using that smaller ticket service to get people in the door. You build that relationship with them, and then you can sell them any permanent makeup you want.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, in any business, it's good to diversify and to maximize your average customer spend. And so we've diversified this, as you know, because you run our marketing, into fat sculpting. We do multiple things. So what's cool too is even within our permanent makeup clients, we upsell 30% of our brow clients to lips or liner. 30%.
Nice.
That's a huge revenue increase. So part of it is just talking about your other services during the appointment, like you said, and connecting and seeing if there's a need there. And it's not even selling. They kind of like tell you they want it. They beg you. They're like, oh, I want to take care of my abdomen, do fat sculpting. Sure. Let's sign you up. So diversifying your business is always a good idea, as long as I think if I were to look at the downside of that is there's a lot of people that have way too many services and they aren't good at any of them. Yeah. So get really good at something and slowly diversify and build on what's already successful instead of starting out with too much at once.
Yeah, I would say a good magic number is like 3 to 5 services, because any more than that, it's just too much going on. Plus, when you're like if you are someone out there that's offering multiple services, I always tell my clients, like, focus on 1 or 2 for the ads. If you try to advertise all your services on one ad, it's just going to overwhelm people with choices. And people who have to make too many choices are not going to make any choice.
Yeah. And you want your client to look at your ad or look at a landing page or your website, and it's very clear who you are, what you offer, and why you're awesome. And if they can't tell that in the first 5 to 10 seconds in your website, you lost them. So have a really clear message for your company and get that credibility in that gallery right there so that they feel confident reading further or calling you.
Yeah. And I don't have any sponsors on this podcast, and so I'm not getting paid to do these. And so if you're watching or listening to this, please hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, let us know what you think so far. And if you're listening, we always appreciate a podcast review. It's a small way to be able to get back to the podcast, even though I don't make any money from this.
Yeah, ranking, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think our last topic was going to be building a long-term business. And I think with the bell curve of growth, as we've discussed with permanent makeup and people entering the industry or entering training or entering anything for that matter quickly, and we're noticing that top of the bell curve, what is going to distinguish the businesses that make it long-term and those that don't, outside of having a good sales and marketing platform? I think having a long-term mindset with your clients is everything. How you treat your clients. I go about business a lot differently than a lot of people, because I know if clients come in, if they need to reschedule last minute, oftentimes I'll grant them that grace, because some of my biggest customers in their friend and family circle is because of how I treated them in that specific situation, where I see a lot of things. We were just having this conversation, Jake, about Facebook groups where people will be like, oh, my client wants a refund. Should I refund them or not? And people are like, no, don't refund them. They don't like, oh, and I give grace to clients, because I know in business, and this is a good business mindset thing. Let's say you have 1,000 clients. There's going to be a couple of difficult ones. You can't do it perfect. It's not within your control. So if you want to be in business long-term, think about how you're handling those situations with grace. And public facing, like the responses to any reviews that you get, because that is part of your long-term growth. If I had a couple negative reviews on my site and I responded poorly or didn't respond at all, that would highly affect my revenue long-term. So the way that I go about those situations and address and confront everything directly contributes to my long-term sales. So have a long-term mindset, take the emotion out of things. I think it's everything, right?
Yeah, I would say, like, based on my experience, about 1% of clients are going to be crazy. And so if you have 100 clients, probably one of them is going to be like that person that just is bashing you everywhere, no matter what you tell them or what you offer them or anything.
That's why we charge more, as then if I have to refund one, it's not the end of the world, And I keep my overhead. This is another key thing. I talked about this in my Facebook group this morning. I talked about keeping your overhead low, because if you have high overhead, if you're listening to this and you have high overhead and you have this bougie big location with high rent, high expenses, you're probably going to make selfish choices with clients that benefit you financially. Versus those that have low overhead, I can afford to do what's best for my client. And sure, sometimes it hurts a little bit if I have to do a refund here or there, or I have a no-show and I don't charge them, or I don't keep their deposit. But if I keep my overhead low, my stress level is so low. I sleep really good at night because I always do the right thing, because I don't ever want to make decisions in business that are directly correlated to my pocketbook. I want to do the right thing. And that's a long-term business mindset.
Yep, for sure. I will say there's a lot of hypocrisy out there in the Facebook groups. I'll see artists who are like, they'll post about, should I give this person a refund? And everyone's like, F that client. I would never give a refund, blah, 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 in that situation. And then if it has to do with a marketer, they're like, yeah, you should get an instant refund. The marketer should just give you your money back, even though they've already done all the work and done everything. So there's two sides of that story, I guess.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. Oh, I want to add something too, since we're on the topic of building a long-term business, and this is permanent makeup specific. On the PMU side, something I see that is really hurting long-term clientele is I'm seeing a lot of artists oversaturating the skin with organic pigment. Like, I can't believe the amount of brand new artists coming into the industry that are given organic pigment and taught to saturate the skin full. The way I like to explain it, and this is so important because my clients come back after years and I'm able to maintain beautiful brows because I don't pack it in. I don't pack it in with organic pigment super full. I love organic, it doesn't matter what pigment line, but organic is very concentrated. It lasts a really long time. And our skin is like a cup of coffee. And if our coffee cup is completely full and time goes by and it only comes down a tiny bit, and say they're gray because they're going to cool over time, can you really color correct it if that coffee cup is almost full? No, it's going to overflow. It's not going to hold. So never fill the skin too full, because then you can't maintain and correct your color and go from there. I think if you're a new artist and you want a long-term business, learn about the pigments you're using. Don't oversaturate the skin, and think about the longevity of the treatment.
Love that. Cool. So I guess my last question would be, like, if you could go back to when, I know you're successful and stuff, but if there's always like one or two things we wish we had known, what do you wish you had known when you first started your business?
I wish I would have hired help sooner.
Me too.
I had very fast success. I'm a hustler. Like I work very hard, so I earned every bit of it. But the first, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years, I did everything myself. And I could afford, looking back, I totally could have afforded help. I didn't take vacations. I overbooked my schedule. I worked way too much and it hurt my mental health, my stress levels, my physical health. And I just think it's worth, long-term mindset, having some help. Hire somebody part-time that is at home with their kids that can take your calls while you're in gloves or respond to emails or take care of your schedule, hire somebody to help you with your bookkeeping. It's almost like having a house cleaner, when you have a crazy life. You don't have time to go and clean your whole damn house. Well, you don't need to clean your damn business. You don't have time to do all that in your business either.
Yep.
And it's not as expensive as you think. And even with my accounting background, I know what opportunity cost is. And I was too frugal or too cheap to hire help when I needed it to help me grow faster. And I think that would have increased things faster. And I'm glad I went through what I did, because now I teach people the impact of that and how to grow their companies and make data-driven decisions. But I definitely went through that phase where it was hell. It was too much. I think that's it.
And that's what I love that, because I wish I had hired sooner too. Like I over hustled myself, and at the time I was flying twice a day as an Air Force pilot. And then between flights and like after work until 10 p.m. at night, and I would wake up at, crack of dawn or before, just over hustling like 7 days a week. And, when I look back, I could have easily hired, more people much quicker, and it would have helped my mental sanity a lot as well.
Yeah. And looking back though, I'm grateful I went through what I did too. I think one thing I'll add too is, if you're an artist, you should know you can hire a part-time virtual assistant. You don't have to hire somebody as a full-time salaried person. That's very expensive. Yeah. I have multiple of those too now. So I'll tell you, it costs a lot, but you could hire a virtual assistant part-time, and it's very cost effective. And let's say they help you schedule one client you wouldn't have had otherwise. It more than covers what you're paying them for the month. And you get peace of mind. It's win-win.
Yeah. And that's why I set my business up the way I did, because, I took on the cost of graphic designers, ad research, doing all this stuff, putting everything together, and I make it a simple package that people can, the cost to hire me is less than the cost of hiring an employee. And I'm an expert, like assassin at what I do. And so that's the advantage of hiring experts.
It really is. Yeah, I can't be the expert at everything. So I like delegating. And now where I'm at with my business, I can run fast because I have a team where I think the best muscle I have in my business is putting people in the right role based on their skill sets. And that has been a game changer for us. I think we have 13, 14 girls now. It's wild. That's
awesome. Well, cool. Were we going to tell them about when I beat you in golf?
Nice.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think you beat me.
I was so nervous. I couldn't even hit the golf ball.
No, I think you definitely beat me still. That was the first time I had played in a while.
Yeah, it's fun. Scottsdale's a great market. It's and then we're in Seattle. Seattle is great too. I hear a lot of people talk about how they are so limited based on their geographical location or being in a city because there's so many artists. There's so many people though too. So all the reasons that you're coming up, like, let's talk some mindset. If you are thinking of all the reasons your business is going downhill or it's not going to grow, or all the reasons people don't win, there's an equal or more amount of reasons on the other side saying, oh my gosh, there's opportunity because of X, Y, and Z. There's more people right here. I don't know. I just shift your mindset, guys. Have a growth mindset. Come from the other side of things where you're just going to go hustle and make it happen. Because I'll tell you what, the people that, like, you and I are hustler. Like, we will go and do the work and we'll build it. And in any vertical, 20% of artists get 80% of the business. 20% of artists get 80% of the clients. Why is that? And figure out how you can separate yourself as that top 1 out of 5 artists. It's not going to take much, guys. But if you can just have that mentality of, I'm going to do a little extra so I can be in that top 1 of 5 and get all the clients, you will win. You will win.
Yep. And that's honestly the difference between someone like you who will go out and figure it out. And no matter what happens, you're going to make it happen. You know, you're going to figure it out. You're going to put in the work. And then there's some people I see that have a victim mindset. And if they have any adversity or all, or if it's not happening fast enough, they're just like, well, I've got all these excuses and this is why I'm not successful. Boo hoo. And those people are going to go out of business.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of business owners that probably should be staff artists and they do very well and they'd be so happy. If you choose to be in business for yourself, you need to be a problem solver. You are taking it upon yourself to go and critically think, make data-driven decisions, and solve problems. That's all we do. And you do it every day. And the problem changes every day and every month, and you have to pivot with it. But there's also so much opportunity with that too. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, but you also got to deal with everything else that comes along with it.
Yeah, I was actually I did a webinar this morning. I was telling them that, you know, we're blessed in such an amazing opportunity right now because, you know, we talk about hard work, but, you know, 500 years ago, hard work meant like hard labor, like going out and shoveling all day and, you know, just terrible stuff. Whereas like today, hard work can literally be laying in your bed, DMing people and following up with leads. I mean, if you put that in perspective, we are so freaking lazy as a society. You know, people are like, I don't want to follow up with leads. I don't want to put in any work, blah, blah, blah. Like they wouldn't make it 500 years ago or 200 years ago.
No, and I won't even say on here that the level of effort that I have personally, I'm not a marketer, but I have studied how to market. I've studied how to write good captions or how to create automatic text or email follow-up sequences that convert. And I get excited to learn those things because guess what? Business is a formula.
Yeah.
And if you can learn this formula, you can run any business and company. It's literally the same thing. So I love taking the reins in my business and not, I know a lot of people hire and delegate marketing 100%. They don't want to think about it, but I think there's so much opportunity there if you can work together and learn how to optimize your side of things. And I believe that's a big reason that we are as big as we are is because we take that side of things very seriously. The way that we answer the phone, the way we follow up and communicate, and the way we manage our leads once we have them. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
And honestly, like working with you is, you know, different than maybe working with someone else because with you, like you said, you're a student of all things business. And so it's like, okay, Jake, we're a little bit slower, you know, next month. What can we do? What about this strategy? And like, we're having like a really great conversation where some people are just like, well, I'm not successful right now, so I just want to quit. You know, it's totally different mindsets. And it's not because you're a different person than somebody else. It's all mindset.
It is 100% mindset. And I think if you're hungry to learn and grow, you'll find an answer. That's what's really cool. And then you're that top 1 out of 5 artists and you're going to get 80% of the clients. So go find that freaking 20, go become that 20%. If you listen to this podcast all the way through the end here, the one thing you need to take off here is go get yourself in that top 20% by doing what others aren't willing to do.
Yep, exactly. Love it. Well, if you guys enjoyed this, leave a comment below. We appreciate it. And thank you, Amanda, for joining us on here and sharing this amazing advice.
Absolutely. And I'll drop my Instagram handle. If you want to message or follow, you can reach me at amandabanks.pmu. I'd be happy to talk with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And thank you, Amanda.